We were just playing around with the Husqvarna Viking Designer EPIC to the 4-way stitches, but did you know in menu T, now we have the option for 8-way stitches. Now, just to compare, on the 4-way stitches, we have 17 different stitches you can pick from that will allow you to stitch in all 4 directions. So you just touch the reverse button on the front of the machine, and whichever direction that stitch is pointing, that's the stitch the direction it will go. So we have something very similar in the T menu. You'll notice that there are 2 kind of groups. So if you touch one of the arrows from the top group, you will be stitching a straight stitch. From the bottom group, a triple straight stitch. So there's only 2 stitches that you'll actually be using in this particular 8 directions. But there's times where I haven't wanted to turn my whole fabric around and I just needed to stitch that way a little bit. And this would be one way to do it. You can do shapes, you can stitch, and again, not have to turn the fabric, especially if it's big and bulky. Notice we do have the foot S on. That is the best foot to use for any multi-directional stitch. You'll notice that comes up with any stitches that are sewing sideways. That is the ideal foot. Now you can also use this in combination with other stitches in the memory. So let me just quick show you how this is going to look, and then I'll finish with showing you some combinations of stitches that you could do in and combining them as a programmed memory. To simplify things, I'm going to use the Start Stop button on the front of my machine, pick the arrow to the bottom right corner, so kind of a southeast direction, and then I'm going to use the Start Stop button, and then I'm going to just stitch until I feel that is as far as I need to go. So when I stop it, then I can choose one of the arrows on screen, and I'm going to turn to like a lower left corner, as kind of a southwest kind of direction, and push the start button. And again, I can stitch, and it's going to stitch that 45-degree angle. I can kind of choose and change this on a whim. So if I'm kind of going for a fun direction, how about if I change it? I'm going to change it to a new one. Watch this. Keep an eye on which way it's going. And then if I wanted to go to the west, we can go ahead and stitch. But look how fun that is. So again, you can do this with both a straight stitch or a triple straight stitch if you want a little heavier look. Let's do that triple straight stitch just to see. It'll do kind of that 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back. But look at the difference in how bold that stitch will actually turn out. So how do I keep things straight? One thing I do is I keep an eye on the edge of the presser foot, and in combination with the edge of the fabric, or if necessary, I've drawn something on the fabric to kind of help keep everything running perfectly parallel, and I know that it's going to look good when I'm done. I promised you a peek at what it would look like if we were to put some of this into memory. So let's go ahead and open up the program area. That's the A with the zigzag on the lower edge. You know you're in it because everything disappears in the sewing area. So for fun, I'm going to just pick a decorative stitch. I'm actually going to put 2 of them in at once. Let's just do this stitch number 12, and I'm going to want to insert some of these directional stitches between the 2 that I put in. So I'm going to find myself back at that T menu. Let's just go these are kind of simple stitches. They're not really heavy. So I am going to use the straight stitch. And let's go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's do 6. And then I'm going to bring my cursor down. So I'm going to add 6 more directions between these stitches in the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to start here, stitch down and across, and then back. Now right here, what it's going to do is go back and repeat the sequence. So that's why I didn't need to have another flower, unless I wanted to have 2 flowers. So what I would do would be 2 on this side, 1 on this side, should I have put a total of 3 flowers in there. But this would be a fun way to create a multi-direction decorative stitch that you could fill in a bigger area than just a single row elbow, that's the width of your presser foot. So there's lots of different stitches and combinations that you could actually play with. Let me give you one more example. I'm going to just go ahead, touch and hold this trash can. That'll take everybody out at once, clear it out. And let's find some of our extra wide decorative stitches that are our scallops. Let's try 34. I'm going to put 2 of those in there. But this time what I'm going to do is move the stitches around. And I don't commit this particular part to memory. So watch what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put a stitch in, and if it's not where I want, I'll just delete. Let's go a couple stitches this way, this. All right, so what I'm trying to do is stack, there we go, stack 2 of those scallops on top of each other. So it's going to stitch out 1, and then it's going to stitch, and then it'll stitch out a second. So if I come down here, I could actually put some similar stitches to bring myself back to here, and then add those, the last one. I should have put 3 in it at the beginning, but that's okay. I can add that back in, stitch number 34. So you can see I'm not covering up my stitches right there. So that would be my goal, is to come back and put stitches that would go underneath there. But see how it's going to stitch? It will stitch out. So if I do a check mark, you'll see that it creates a whole new fun pattern. Yes, I would need to correct that, but you can see that you can start moving stitches around, combining them into memory, all with the stitches you find in the 8 direction menu T.